It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Columbus volleyball head coach, Allison Keeley. How are you doing today?
Hi, Brandon. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about your coaching experience and how you got started?
Sure. I have kind of an unusual path. I'm from a small town in Alliance, Nebraska, and I ended up playing Division III at Carleton College. It's a liberal arts school, so not a lot of people from that school end up going into sports. When I moved back to Lake Tahoe after college, I met a guy actually playing on the beach. His name was Gene Selznick, and he was one of the pioneers in beach and international men's volleyball. So I learned from him, and I started coaching club as I was a ski instructor and an English tutor and trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And I just fell in love with coaching. I found a system and people that I really enjoyed. And so then I just kind of worked my way up. I went from club to junior college to D3, D2, D1. I've been really lucky to be around some great people and be in some really neat parts of the country.
Can you talk about your stops along the way to get to where you are now at Columbus?
Sure. I'll give you the kind of short version, but I went to Pomona in California just for a brief stint, and at Chaffey Junior College was really my first head coaching job down in Rancho Cucamonga, and I earned a master's degree there. And then I went on and I went to Southern Arkansas from there. And again, just taking advantage of the opportunities that were available to me. Really unique. I'd never been in the South, and I'd never been a head coach before. So I was really fortunate, I think, as in every step of the way, to work with some fantastic young women. And those are the people that stay with you and that kind of define the experience there. So at Southern Arkansas, there was a group of 4 young women who came in together as freshmen and are still best friends to this day. You know, husbands, a couple of them went to Southern Arkansas. They've got their kids. It's just a neat experience. From there, I went to Villanova. I got really fortunate. Had great administrators there, Vince Nicastro and Lynn Ty. Villanova is an unbelievable place. Great people, able to attract great athletes. So I brought some people from the club at California that really made a difference in our program. And again, those young women just formed a bond and have been lifelong friends. So it's fun to watch them grow as well. From there, I went to UNLV, and being in Las Vegas, opposite end of the country, was just a neat place to be. Mike Hamrick was a tremendous administrator. And again, a group of 4 young women that we started with and continued to grow the program. But Jada Walker, Lauren Miramontes, Maria Alajova, and Melody Nua, who's now an assistant at UNLV. Were kind of the backbone of that program. So that was really, really fun. From there, I took a year off. My mentor, the person I talked about, got really sick. So I went and did hospice for him for a year. When he passed, again, what was available was a job, a D2 job in East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. That was fantastic as well. Just, again, a young group of women that we took and grew with our program and changed the character of the program over time. They actually ended up going to the NCAAs for the first time 2 years after I left with that group of young women. And then got an opportunity at Boston College to work for Chris Campbell, who's fantastic. And then now here at Columbia, which is it's a dream, tremendous place.
Can you talk about what you've accomplished so far at Columbia?
Columbia it's not about me and the people that come through the program. It's about the institution, and it's about the people that make the institution. So when I got here, there's a lot of things that are in place because Columbia is Columbia. It attracts a certain type of student athlete, a certain type of student that is selfless, that's willing to work, that cares a lot about other people, and is really committed to athletics. We're not on scholarship here. They do it because they love it. And they commit as much to their athletics as they do to their volleyball. So the love piece, we have two pillars in our culture. It's love and excellence. And the love piece was very much there. And the excellence piece was very much there on the academic side and their character side. But in terms of tying it into the understanding of what it takes to be excellent at Division I, to make the NCAA tournament, to be a perennial, contender for that opportunity, is where we're building. And our girls are really excited about that, because win or lose, they put in the time either way. So they're really looking forward to understanding some of the pieces that it takes to be at that level and to build a culture around that excellence pillar as well.
Can you talk about your time for the last 3 seasons at UNLV?
I was at UNLV for 7 years total. And the first 4 were all about building our culture. UNLV, a lot of the programs I've been in have been programs that have risen. And then every 4 years, after you build and get those people in and build that culture, you really have to transition. So it had been done before there. Karen Lamb was a great coach there. Dietrich Collins was a great coach there. So I was the next in line. And again, when I got there, the program was not in good shape. There just weren't a lot of people in the program. So we had to build and build up culture. And we took that team, from where they were to being in the NCAA, to being I think we were ranked 19th at one point in the country. And just to provide that experience for the women was unbelievable. I mean, they built it, they earned it, and there's still a tremendous amount of pride in that, both in the program and in those young women that are now 40 years old. But it's something that they can't replace. So I think it's just a really unique experience. And then my vision there was to do that again, right? So that UNLV would become a name brand and transition that culture. And we had some challenges along the way and wasn't quite able to get that accomplished. But then the next coach that came in again did the same thing, took the program and brought it to the NCAA. So I think UNLV has a nice tradition going there with their volleyball program and their female athletes.
Can you talk about how it feels personally for you being in the record books at UNLV for being the winningest coach?
I'm one of those people that looks to the future a lot more than I do to the past. So I really just am grateful for the time that I had there and for the relationships that I built with some of those student athletes. Also grateful for the time to be around great coaches. I think as a young coach and as a young female, there's a lot of opportunities for missteps, which I've taken many in my career. But with the right mentoring, the right support from your administration, it really helps to keep young coaches and young female coaches in the business. So I was afforded that opportunity. And also some great mentoring from coaches around UNLV. Actually, in all my steps, I've been really lucky. At UNLV, Kat Mertz was a soccer coach who's now gone on and built a program in Oregon, and now she's at Oklahoma. Lon Kruger was there with the basketball team. Our golf coach is a legend there. Dwayne Knight was fantastic. So to be around and talk and learn from those people really meant a lot to me and helped me to become a better coach and a better person.
Can you talk about what you accomplished at Villanova as the head coach?
I wasn't at Villanova for very long. I think Villanova did a lot more for me than I was able to do for them. We were there for 3 years, and we went from the bottom of the program. There was, I think, 16 teams. I can't remember, 16 teams maybe in the conference at the time, maybe 12. But we were at the bottom. In 3 years, we made it up to, it was really hard to qualify for the conference tournament. You had to be in the top 4 teams. So that was our big accomplishment there as a team, was to get into that tournament. And the Big East at the time was, Notre Dame, Pitt, Georgetown, Seton Hall. So I had some big names in the conference and some big volleyball names. So it was great to be able to compete in that conference and to compete against some high-end teams and, again, some big name coaches at the time. And these girls, these women are just, they know what they want. They have a vision for themselves. They're committed. The same thing at Columbia. It's just it's a really unique type of person you're dealing with. And so it was great to be a part of their experience and to see where they've gone on since that time as well.
What was it like personally to coach at your alma mater?
That was interesting. A big part was because my best friend and my teammate was actually the head coach. So I was in Lake Tahoe at the time and coaching club, and she had been coaching. She had spent one season at Carleton previously, and she goes, Allison, I could use some help if you want to come back and help me. So I went back, and we had been roommates in college or after college, and we had been roommates in Lake Tahoe. We played on the beach together. So for us, it was more just supporting her in her endeavor there. And she did a fantastic job. Again, I wasn't there that long, so I can't speak to the relationships and the people, but just some really neat people. So it was really a fun experience. And also to be able to go back and work with a lot of my mentors. I had some great coaches when I was there. Leon Lunder was my track coach, actually. And he had moved up in the administration. So it was fun to work and to be around them as well.
In 2017, whenever you were at Boston College as the interim head coach, what did you accomplish as your first role of head coach?
It wasn't so much the interim experience. It was more really the season that I had there with them was fantastic. I worked with a coach named Chris Campbell, who had been there for a long time. But it's really interesting to work with somebody that's essentially your peer, right? And to learn and to grow from their experience and how to manage people and how to manage a practice and how to scout a team. And on top of that, he's just a Renaissance man. So you could walk into the office and spend an hour talking about any topic other than volleyball. And I really enjoyed that relationship, getting to know he and his wife Nada and his daughter Sophie. So, and also, again, some fantastic young women there. Just really fun to be around, interesting stories, interesting agendas. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Can you talk about what you have learned now leading you to Columbia?
Really, it's interesting. I got into the sport because of the sport. A lot of people say I got in to develop people and to grow people. I got into the sport because I love the sport, and I felt like I had gotten so much from being an athlete in terms of self-confidence, purpose, discipline, and just the joy of competing. And I really wanted to offer that to young women. And it's really interesting when you hear a lot of these interviews, they're like, no, you're into being an educator. Well, I love people. I'm a people person, but I got a lot of joy out of, I've worked in restaurants, right? I got a lot of joy out of managing a restaurant and those relationships. I was an educator. I really enjoy teaching. I enjoy those relationships, but ultimately I enjoy the coaching piece, not only because of the people and the development there, but because of the sport and because of the challenges it brings. It actually brings some of the more difficult relationships, I think, to be involved in. It's very easy to say hello and goodbye to a restaurant customer and share a laugh or a story. But it's another thing to mentor young women through some really challenging times, right? Whether it's health challenges or ego challenges or academic challenges. And to let them know that you're there for them and that we're going to get through this. But it's extremely rewarding, and it's just been an unbelievable career.
Can you talk about the historical career in 2019?
Sure. 2019 Columbia. Again, Columbia has a really long and proud tradition of volleyball in our program, and some of the alumni and their stories are fantastic, and tremendous athletes all the way across. The 2019 season, and the historic piece of it was really predicated on one really special athlete. Her name was Chibuzo Kwazam, Chi-Chi. And Chi-Chi was a very quiet, caring, supportive teammate. On top of that, she's, I think, probably in the top 5% of athletes in the country, maybe 1%. She touched 10, 11 and a half and could put the ball through the floor. So we ran our offense around her, and she smiled and was willing to do what her teammates needed her to do. And she loved sharing that experience with them. She had 4 roommates that they came through the program together. And each played a different role, and each was so critical in our leadership and our team culture. They've really set our team culture for the future. So it was just really special to be there for the ride with those young women.
Can you talk about what you look for in the recruitment process as high school athletes?
Sure. I think in any school, it's kind of in the same, but you look for people that are passionate about the game, that really want to be an athlete. It's one thing to enjoy playing, but I think to go to the college level, you have to enjoy being an athlete, and you have to enjoy the work that goes along with it. If you do it for other reasons, or if you just do it for fun, you're going to get burned out. So you need to love it, and you need to really want to be good at it. Those are two pieces that I think are critical in the process. And if you know that about yourself, you will absolutely enjoy college athletics at any level. I've coached at every level, and I haven't found the experience to be vastly different as a student or as a coach. People are there because they want an education, they want a team experience, they want a competitive experience. And it's a once in a lifetime. It's not something you can duplicate once you graduate.
Can you talk about, of course, what you look for in high school athletes that are wanting to become college volleyball players?
Sure. A lot of what I just talked about, we look for a passion for the game, a commitment to the game. You know, what are you doing in your off time? Are you playing other sports? Are you playing volleyball? Or is volleyball something that you do because, or you do in a certain season? So we look for that. And then we look for kids that are really disciplined, that are, I think our defining quality at Columbia really is selflessness. So if you see it and hear it in people in the small things, and there are a lot of small things that I've come to understand as a coach, that you teach a lot of those things, depending on where your team's at, whether it's please or thank you, whether it's helping somebody set up the nets, whether it's mentoring a teammate in a class. A lot of those things are already inherent in our culture in Columbia. They are the most selfless group of young women that I've ever worked with. And I think it's really important that we bring people to the program that want to give more than they take. And if we have a lot of givers on our team, we're going to continue to grow and be successful.
Can you talk about the official visit and what that process is like, of course, before COVID happened?
Yeah, sure. The official visit, again, is getting people on campus, getting a sense of your campus. Columbia is really unique. It is a kind of a small liberal arts campus. Like, you could take the campus and put it anywhere, and it would have the same feel. You'd get up and you go to practice, and you go to meals with your team. You go to class, go to study. So it's a very traditional lifestyle. And I don't think people understand that when they hear the word city and they hear the word a university. Everything's a little bigger than the actual feel. So it's important for us to get people on campus. And other than having them meet some of our administrators and support people, we generally let them just be with the team and follow them around for a day and get a sense of it. Are these the type of people I want to be around? And is this a place that I can see myself? And a piece of that also is not only experience the culture on campus, which is very different. It's like a little bubble, but also to get out in the city a little bit and see what their comfort level there is. Some people, the city is everything they dreamed, right? They can do an internship, they can go out to eat, they can go to a show, they can go to a museum. For other people, it's a little overwhelming. So they really need to see it and feel it and experience and see if it's something that is comfortable for them and something that they want for themselves.
During the official visit, do they get to wear the Columbia blue volleyball jersey?
We actually don't have that built in as a piece of our program at this point. But yeah, wearing the blue is a sense of pride, and it's something that makes a lot of kids' eyes light up, right? And it's our own color. We are the Columbia blue. So that's kind of neat as well.
What advice would you give upcoming high school athletes looking to play in college?
Know yourself. What do you love? If it's sports that you love, be an athlete. If it's music that you love, or working or starting a business, there's so many things that you can do. Dream big, but make sure your dreams revolve around you and what's important to you and what you really enjoy. And then you'll be successful. If you enjoy what you're doing, you will ultimately be successful. And if it's with sports, it really doesn't matter. I don't think what level it's at. It's where your heart is and where your passion is that's going to help you to grow and get where you want to be.
That's wonderful advice. What advice would you give upcoming college coaches looking to get started in college coaching?
I think I would start by saying that the coaching is it is a profession. I don't know that I knew that, and I don't know that when I started it was as much of a viable profession, mainly because of the salaries. With the exception of Columbia and UNLV, I really made over $40,000, which I don't know that a lot of people coming out of college would say, ooh, I want to pick this job for this reason. But coaching, it does take time. You do grow. It's not something that just because of an athlete, you're a good athlete, you're going to be a good coach, right? So if you consider yourself to be an educator, this might be a career path that is extremely engaging and rewarding for you. I would also say be open to opportunities. I've had a tremendous career, but I didn't play D1 and become a grad assistant and become a D1 assistant, become a D1 head coach. I went from club to JUCO to the middle of Arkansas to, out to the East Coast. So I was willing to move and to be open to experience that were available to me. And I've been so grateful for every one of those. And I would never say that one is any better than the other, right? It's taking a program, it's building a program, it's working with young women and helping them to get where they want to be, and to share something special along the way.
Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with Columbia Volleyball at?
My personal Instagram is CU_Coach Keeley. It's mainly my pictures of New York or sunsets. It's kind of my personal amateur photography site more than it is a coaching website, but we'll help you to get to know me a little bit as a person. And our Columbia Instagram is excellent. It is at CU Lions VV on Instagram and on Twitter as well. We also have a Facebook with the same Columbia Volleyball.
Thank you again, Coach Allison, for your interview, and best of luck in this upcoming season.
My pleasure, Brandon. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Allison, for your interview, and best of luck.
Best of luck, Brandon.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.